name or names jump out at you and you think, oh, that one is a real kicker?
Sammy Smodics for me. When you talk about players that have had such a big impact, and there's some really impactful ones in there, Smodics is someone who in the first half of the season was so important because he always felt that while Liam Delap was the man taking the spotlight, he scored some really important goals, didn't he? He always felt like he was the right man in the right place, especially on the road. I mean, he hasn't scored at Portman Road off the top of my head, but in those away games, especially where I think Town had less possession and it was just about getting the ball forward quickly and making sure you could have an opportunistic finisher in the box, he was perfect for that. And probably to have both him and Chaplin, quite similar players, both of them out for an extended period at the same time, I think is a really big blow. Both really good finishers, both kind of so sharp with their movement, causing real problems, kind of low center of gravity, similar sizes. Very good kind of McKenna system players. So look, we knew that Chaplin for a while has had these kind of setbacks, and I think there was just this hope of at least Sammy Smodic, such a key part of the attacking line, will be back soon. We've seen little glimpses of him. If we've seen him at Old Trafford, then hopefully it means, yeah, he's not fully fit, but we can see him soon. Yeah, he wasn't at the Forest game, but then we're coming up to internationals and things like that. There is an opportunity to have him have a run, and the fact he's had a setback, the fact that it's looking like it's going to be probably no more than 3 games at best this season is such a big blow given what we've seen from him so far. And yeah, that's probably the really disappointing one, I think.
You got any thoughts on that, Stu?
Yeah, I mean, Axel's a major blow because he's been Ipswich's best defender, I think, when fit this season. He's looked like a Premier League player. He's been a Premier League player before, of course, at Manchester United. He was playing really well against Forest, dealing with some really dangerous threats in Alanga and Hudson-Odoi switching wings. I think it was probably that moment where I think it was Alanga that was darting towards the byline, and he showed an incredible turn of pace to stick with him and tackle him, and that may have been the moment where his hammy's gone. So I think he's a big one. Calvin Phillips, I was just starting to feel like, as I touched upon earlier, we were getting to maybe see the best of Calvin Phillips, or close to the best of Calvin Phillips in the latter stages of the season, and that could have made a real difference. It's just felt like it's not meant to be for him this season for whatever reason. And I don't think we should underestimate the Connor Chaplin one, to be honest. He's another one, a bit like Chio Ogbene as well, because we saw so little of him. You kind of forget about that. But he was brought in, Chio, to be a kind of a Premier League profile in terms of his athleticism. They've lost both him and Burns on the right, who are very similar in style, and they've ended up with no one that can do those sort of roles. But Chaplin, top goal scorer 2 seasons in a row for Ipswich. I think we can forget that, and he's so integral to kind of knitting everything together at the top end of the pitch. Sometimes a big part of the patterns of play that they've worked on for a long, long time. And so, yeah, add them all together. And it's pretty damaging, isn't it? Ipswich needed a fair wind this season to stand a chance. They needed some rub of the green along the way, and they've not had a lot of it.
I think Chaplin's a great shout, Stu. I mean, on top of, as you say, his ability on the pitch, he is a glue guy. He's a culture guy, isn't he? Someone who kind of is, along with the likes of Sam Morsey, someone who drives all that behind the scenes. And yes, he can still do that when he's not playing, but it's not the same when he's not part of the playing squad. He's not on the pitch or even, on the bench. So yeah, I think he is a big loss, and I couldn't believe it when we look back and he hasn't played since the Newcastle game, not played this year. I mean, wow! And now we're in March.